We spend a lot of time in uh, the SEL 301 program building our network, and I'm going to talk about that in a couple of slides, and developing relationships. And I think that's one of the most special things about, in general, about the academy, let alone the course I facilitate. It's very rare that you have an opportunity to get 10, 15, 20 people, depending on who signs up that semester, together who all have drunk the SEL Kool-Aid from different parts of the world. And so this network ends up becoming um, something that we rely on when we leave the program. I'll talk more about that, like I said, in a couple of slides. By the way, thumb balls are out there. You can just go to Amazon and um, type in a search for them, and the cheaper ones are $15. I have a stash of them. They're great to use with kids, obviously. Um, One way that I've seen thumb balls used in the SEL world is to, when opening up morning meetings with kids, either part of the responsive classroom model or otherwise, is to get kids to toss the ball to each other, start with a greeting. So they either, that greeting could be simply a handshake, it could be, an elbow bump. I've seen some other creative things done. Um, and then respond to the prompt. So kids are talking about their personal selves while at the same time enhancing their interpersonal skills. Rich knows something about me, Martha, you may not, and those of you who will be watching this recording should know that I'm currently a practitioner. I'm a superintendent. It's my 10th year in the position. Worked in several districts. Right now, I'm in a community called Union, New Jersey, which is in the northern part of New Jersey. Um, I I'm also an adjunct professor for a while now at Rutgers and Montclair. I teach in their leadership strand. So it's important for you to know that I share my thinking through a practitioner lens with participants. I talk about my failures. Many more of them were there than my successes, but I talk about my successes as well. And I put my professor hat on as well when we do some of our workshops and talk about the theory, the research that informs informal and formal leadership. Um, and on a personal note, I'm a father of two girls and a husband to a special educator. And you can learn more about me by going to that website, taylorleadership.net. So in the next 5 or 10 minutes, I'd like to um, have us in the back of our mind be thinking about the essential question. And those of you who know Understanding by Design and Grant Wiggins and Jay McTighe know what an essential question is. It's this overarching question that's supposed to frame how you're thinking about something. So what I really want to do is have you be thinking as I share how this program can help you be more effective as a leader, a formal leader like Rich. I don't, Martha, what do you do? I should ask that before I get into this too far. Unmute yourself. Thank you.
So as a mental health interventionist in the high school, I support students with social, emotional, and mental health. So we have academic school counselors, but I'm kind of an extension of that, where I don't do like the scheduling and the credit checks and the academic focus stuff. I'm working with students on anything socially, emotionally, mental health wise that's going on that's impacting their access to learning. And that includes kind of resources and things like that. So I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I can practice independently, but I'm practicing in a school.
So I would refer to you as an informal leader. You may not have a leadership title like Rich has. He's an SEL coordinator, assuming that's an admin level position, a formal leadership position, but you're still an informal leader among your peers.
Right, I would say that we have a district SEL coordinator, and she sent out these series of webinars and for the SEL Academy, and I want to kind of report back to my district what I'm learning and seeing if I can get a voice with the leaders to get something going, because I feel like, especially after the last couple of years, we need to strengthen our services in the school and our culture and our climate around this work.
So this program helps people like you enhance leadership skills so that you can be even more effective in attracting people like a Pied Piper you should be, to follow the SEL vision you have. So I want you to be thinking about that as I share these next series of slides. So I want to make sure you understand what SEL 301 is. I'm going to share a couple of slides with you about that. And also just dabble a little bit into what I talk about in the workshops that I facilitate. First things first, you should know, if you take part in the program, my class, SEL 301, which is a capstone, it's the third of a 3-course progression, is 15 weeks long. And there are specific activities I ask participants to complete. And through that work, I provide detailed feedback, really concrete feedback. So if you share an action plan, I'm going to get back to you and link resources in the doc when I give you feedback. I'm going to suggest maybe a change in the way you're ordering your layout of actions. I'll also be facilitating a series of workshops, and it's in those workshops that I talk more about the research and the theory about leadership. And then we do some activities, as I pointed out earlier, and these are just a sampling of them. The culminating task, I think, is helpful for the participant, not only in their work towards completing the program, but also for personal use, professional use, for posterity's sake. I ask that everybody compile artifacts, which can be pictures, memoranda, videos of workshops that the individual may have facilitated, in a folder, and then share that folder with me, so that not only am I being assured that the participant, has completed the program successfully to a great extent, but also so that I can give you additional feedback, and that you have something that you can use and refer to in the future, if you want to circle back to the work that you did in the class, perhaps because you're going for a job interview and you want to refer people to that work. So the last thing I want to make sure I refer to is the network I talked about earlier. The network's powerful. This slide is representative of how the network continues outside of what we do after the 15 weeks. Danielle Newfer, whose book I took a screenshot of, that's her, was a participant a year and a half ago. And I've been working with now as a consultant to facilitate virtual self-care workshops around this book she wrote for 33 of my teachers. So there is a revenue stream that can come out of this network, if worse comes to worse. And then this is just a shot of those teachers working virtually with Danielle. So the network's really powerful. The course is broken down into stages. The first stage of SEL 301 has me just helping you identify the project that you come to the table with. It could be something that you've already been working on and want to enhance, or something brand new, and make sure that that project is viable, not just this pie in the sky idea that you're hoping you're going to throw on the wall and sticks. The second phase has us looking at ourselves as I help you better understand your leadership world, because I really believe strongly that an effective leader is a leader who understands his or her or their identity, personal identity, upbringing, how our childhood influences our leadership style. So I do ask you to reach back into your past, and of course all the Freudian issues come up. And I'm no therapist, but we we certainly enjoy fleshing out some of the things that may have affected you as an adult and in your professional world. And we of course talk about the ways that you can get people to come along and reform the culture to your liking. The fourth phase, which is the next to last phase, has us addressing the challenges you're experiencing, and this is where the network comes in. So nice to spend an hour with people in a workshop. We have four around across the 15 weeks, and commiserate, but also get something out of other people to help you solve some of the challenges. And then finally, the wrap up has us looking at the future, what the next 3 years after your project's been implemented look like. So I want to dabble in one of the activities that I facilitate when we talk about self-identity and our awareness of ourselves and how that influences our leadership. Patty, Martha, Rich, if you would please grab a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil. And I'm gonna say it once and only once, although it's up there on the screen. If you forget what I ask you to do, please, or direct you to do, please draw a pig. Okay, I'm not going to give you too much time to do this because I'm only asking you to draw a pig, and I mean, what could you possibly be coming up with? So, um, this scientifically proven assessment, not really, is loosely based on the Meyer-Briggs assessment, which is a popular human resources tool to help people determine their personality traits and how it might affect their work. But we call it the Myers-Briggs personality assessment. Hey, Rich, Martha, Patty, hold up your pigs. Would you put them in the window in your camera?
I just need to confirm that this is a safe space, Scott, and it's okay to do this, right?
It's a brave space, Rich. Yes. Wait, I didn't see it, Rich. Come on up there, man. Okay. All right. So, Patty, can you put yours back up there? There's only 3 of you, so I'm looking for commonalities. All right. So, by the way, you all have left-facing pigs. Interesting. You all have very similar personality traits. I'm gonna, Martha, you could put your sheet of paper down now. Thank you. If you drew your pig towards the top of the page, and it doesn't seem any of you did, it means you're positive and optimistic. So that's troubling, but we'll leave it at that. If it's in the middle, you're a realist. If it's towards the bottom, you're a pessimist. Now, if it's facing left, which I believe is the case for all 3 of you, it means you're the one who believes in, you're very friendly, but you believe in honoring traditional celebrations like birthdays. But you're the guys and gals, you're probably the Sunshine Club chairs, and you probably keep track of birthdays and make sure everybody's honoring each other's birthday. That's my guess. If you're facing right, which isn't the case here, but just so you know, it means you're innovative, but you don't have much of a sense of humor. That makes sense because Martha, you smile a lot. I can tell that already, and Rich has already joked with me. Patty, I can tell you, she can be jocular. She's humorous on some level. If it's facing forward, which isn't the case for any of you, it means you're direct. If you had many details on your pig, it means you're analytical. I didn't see many details in your cases. A few details, it means you're emotional, you're naive, you tend to take risks and not even care. That's where the naivete comes in. 4 legs, which I believe is the case with a couple of you, means you're secure, stubborn. Less than 4 legs, you're insecure. The larger the ears, the better the listener you are. Obviously, this doesn't really say a lot about your personality, but the tool gives us some leverage to have a discussion, which ends up becoming really hearty about who we are, how we became who we are, and how that influences how we lead and how we're leading people as informal and formal leaders to support our project work. You can click this link and download the cheat sheet I read from so that you can use this in your classes and your workshops if you'd like. Really easy, bit.ly/SEL301 Myers-Pig. And some of the things we talk about are these questions. We spent about 30 to 35, maybe 40 minutes, which is almost 3/4 of a workshop, just talking about this, and then discussing how not only do we have to leverage the what we know about ourselves and what we don't know, but we have to invoke best practices if we're going to be effective leaders. And this is where this is the point at which I talk about research and theory. Michael Fullan, by the way, is one of the most prominent and well-respected among practitioners, researchers out there. He's still alive, he's still doing the research. And the reason why he's, to me, the golden child of reform is because he actually presents very concrete action steps, strategies to help people like us who are trying to lead others, informally or formally, to make change. And then, for instance, and this is just a sampling of what I talk about in our workshops, he talks about the importance of using certain key phrases or buzzwords, mantras, in as much of the language we use with other people as we can that speak to our project work. I'll give you a great example. One of my high school principals in a previous district I led came up with an acronym, OWLS, OWLS. It was based on the philosophy of the school. It stands for openness, wisdom, leadership, and service. I remember it. I can read, even though it's 4 years since I've worked with this guy, because he talked about it ad nauseum. He found a way to weave it into a lot of what he talked about, including his graduation speeches. So we talk a lot about that. We talk about Fullan's emphasis on language, on repetition, and on the importance of visual symbols as well to improve our leadership. With that, I'm going to pause and Patty, I know you're going to be taking questions, but I do have a couple of minutes in case Martha and Rich want to ask any questions that I can answer. So please go ahead, Martha and Rich, if you'd like to share. If not, and you have questions later, Patty will be available to you.
Okay, I think I'm good for.
Forward them to Scott here. So I don't know if you're leaving your contact information, Scott, for them to go ahead and reach out to you if they think of any questions later.
That's a great idea, and I'm going to put it in the chat. I'm going to give you my email address, so please go ahead and feel free to email me, and I will get back to you promptly. So thank you, Rich and Martha, for being here. I'm going to step out now. And Patty, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Scott.
Take care.
All right. All right. Well, again, thank you for being here. I'm going to speak on the instruction side of the practicum, the principles of practice in the practicum. So I had a couple questions for you. Is that an area that you're interested in, or were you here for the leadership mainly? Because I heard Rich say, I took some notes that you were looking about involving, I think, faculty, and I think Martha too was thinking about. So I just wanted to make sure that that was what you're interested in as well. Okay. So I have lost my voice. I have a mic in front of me, hot water, honey, and tea. So if you don't mind, what I prepared for us is a little slideshow that I narrated over, if that's okay. So I'll share my slideshow with you, but I just want to give you a pacing schedule here. So I speak for about 15, almost 20 minutes on the general track, take you through what that means for the practicum. And then we also have a second type of practicum, and that's for people, you know, I was thinking about you, Rich, who have at least 5 years of experience in one way or another in implementing SEL. And it takes kind of a different kind of field practicum around professional development, webinars, and teaching the teachers. So I will describe the general track first, which is for the, you'll see, I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice again, is for the general track, but if you have colleagues who feel comfortable with documenting 5+ years, we do have that accelerated track. I just wanted you to know that there is a difference. All right, so thank you for your patience being with me and my voice. If you're ready, I also would like to know if your buttons work down here at the bottom. Do you see a reaction button? Can you use that? All right. Show me if you pick something that you like, and let me make sure that that's working, that tool's working. Thank you, Martha. Thank you, Rich. Oh, thank you, Rich. All right. All right, so let me queue up the presentation. All right, and I will share my screen. Okay. Let me put you over here, and here's our presentation. So, okay. So this is our opening slide. This is what we were talking about. Dr. Scott talking about it through the 301, the Academy's leadership program. And I'm going to focus on the instruction. So let me go ahead and play this for you.
Hello and welcome. My name is Patty Meacham. Take a look at this picture. I love this picture. Allow your attention to focus on this image. I like to start with this beautiful image of the children as a visual of what it could look like if we were to meet the goals of cultivating our students' social and emotional habits. Could it look like the behaviors we see the children demonstrating in the picture? I'm going to outline our 103 practicum courses, share the purpose of them, offer some examples from recent graduates, and finish with a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. As an introduction, let's begin here with the children. I invite you to take a moment and gaze upon this picture. And I wonder, what do you see? Can you identify these emotions that we imagine these children are feeling? It looks to me that these children are cultivating peace and harmony. These children are relaxed and breathing mindfully. These children have skillfully mastered the emotional intelligence for practicing and building self-care habits. When the brain is calm and peaceful, it can learn new information, connect concepts to procedures, and retrieve information during events such as quizzes and tests. We all need emotional intelligence skills to engage in self-care for social, emotional, and mental health. Learning intentional breathing strategies, and more importantly, practicing self-care strategies for regulating our intense emotional states is necessary for the brain to grow and for human beings to develop. We see each child engaging within an emotionally and socially safe learning space. This is the purpose of my talk. Our goal is, no matter our roles, if we are interacting with students, we have a shared responsibility to help create a safe learning space, and where they are learning academic, social, and emotional skills that enable them to achieve throughout their lives. In the classroom, college, or workspace, in our homes and communities, now more than ever, our students need our support to help attain the knowledge and practice skills that will help them achieve their goals in life. So how do we carry on doing just that? Well, by being present as you are doing today and finding out more. The Academy for SEL in Schools Certificate for SEL Direct Instruction is a 3-phase program. 101 is SEL Foundations over 10 weeks. 102 is SEL Pedagogy over 10 weeks. 103 is SEL Field Practice over 15 weeks. Our focus for the next few minutes is on the 3rd stage of building SEL and character development, professional expertise for faculty and staff. Today, we focus on the general track 103 practicum, and I will offer a brief outline of the accelerated track, the 402 practicum experiences. The SECD 103 General Track and 402 Accelerated Track Practicum offer a unique opportunity to apply what you have learned in your professional context, working with students and groups. The SECD Practicum is an opportunity that provides space for participants to apply SECD foundational theories and principles from the 101 General Track or the 401 and the 201 pedagogy and into implementation. In terms of intentional and direct SECD instruction, whether implemented in the classroom, counseling groups, or school programs, the SECD 103 and 402 practicum continues the participants' journey in expanding their SECD knowledge and developing their skills through application.
So this is where we were going to introduce each other, but we've done that. We did have several people sign up, and they were from the Philippines, Trinidad, Tobago, Vietnam, New Jersey, Washington, Illinois, and Texas. And you folks are from Illinois and Colorado. So there's a huge time difference there. So I can imagine that they're going to watch the recording. It would have been challenging for them to get up, but I just wanted to share an opportunity to say hello again to everyone that was here.
The purpose of the SECD General and Accelerated Track Practicum as the final course in the SECD certificate program is to gain expertise through engagements and implementation. The purpose of our SECD professional development is for the educator to help the students realize a change in their behaviors. Professional development is just that, the ongoing development of the professional. In our educational setting, what benefits the professional helps the students. During the program, our participants enjoy the quality and effectiveness of the training with other professionals seeking to develop their SECD expertise. An invaluable benefit of the practicum is our positive relationships with a community of professionals as developing SECD practitioners who have shared goals for helping students realize their full potential as developing SECD practitioners bring to our experiences. Each week, participants elevate their skills for SECD lesson intentionality and practice their skills for designing learning experiences for engaging our students on their journey to developing into their best selves. Professional development programs like our Academy for SEL in Schools provide training and learning opportunities that better address educators' needs and teaching challenges. The benefit of our online courses is participants receive effective, high-quality SECD professional development at the time and place of their choosing, from your own home's kitchen table, living room couch, or home office. Our participants are the captains of the ships and exercise their freedom to steer their ships on a professional development journey. Each participant determines when the time is best for them in their schedule to address their professional development goals. Our participants enjoy weekly engagements that help them build the skills of expertise to design SECD lesson action plans. They engage with peers in the online weekly discussion forums and reflect on their students' progress, and they receive weekly coaching from our SECD instructors and mentors. Let's frame the 103 practicum course snapshot with 3 essential questions. The first essential question is, what is the purpose of the practicum? The second essential question is, what examples can you offer from a recent graduate engaging in the practicum? And 3, what is the timeline of the practicum? Action plans. The action plan document is the principle of practice tool we use for focusing on planning, delivering, and evaluating weekly SEL/CD lessons. Next, I will offer a brief example from a 2022 graduate of her reflections engaging with the action plan as a principle of practice tool. The SECD tool belt. Another principle of practice is the collection of SECD strategies, activities, and resources from all 3 courses, 101, 102, and 103. By the end of the 103, the SECD toolkit is a living document that houses in one place the collections of SECD strategies, activities, and resources for professional development and expertise working with students and groups.
The examples are coming. I see now that that was a little bit out of order. I apologize for that.
Focusing on the student's cultivation of social emotional knowledge, attitudes, and skills is only half of the story of the purpose of the practicum journey. The other half is the intentional focus on the ongoing development of adult SEL knowledge, dispositions, and skills as models of a lifelong learner. In other words, our practicum is where the professional development of SEL expertise includes educators, school counselors, after-school program directors, and coaches' cultivation of emotional intelligence skills. The principle of practice tools we use to focus on professional development and adult ongoing SEL/CD expertise development include the whole group live chat, community professional development community meetings via Zoom, weekly peer-to-peer online discussions, running journal reflections on students' progress, professional development journal reflections, problem-solving diaries that engage in the tools and strategies of systematic problem-solving steps, and update and check-in tools for our developing SEL scholars and practitioners.
So here's where I'd like to invite you to let's take a pause. That's a flood of information, and just stretch it out for a second. It's been a long day. So go ahead and give yourself a chance to stretch. Come on, Rich, over your head. There you go. Oh, good, Martha. I love it. All right. So take your right hand and put it around your waist, and your left hand and pat yourself on the back and give yourself a hug for being here. All right. All right. Let's go ahead and resume. Okay. So let's take a look at our students here. Here are our elementary students. Here are middle school students. And here are our high school students. So I've already learned that Martha works in high school. I'm not sure if what grade levels you work with, Rich, but if we were to take an informal poll, which one, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 would describe you? Rich?
Probably 2.
Number 2, 6 to 12-year-olds, elementary. Okay. And Martha? I saw your hand.
4, 14 to
4?
18.
Yes, high school, obviously. Okay, thank you. Very good. Thank you for that information. So good. Very good, by the way, giving yourselves a little stretch towards the end of the day. All right, so I just want to remind you that we do, I would love to take your questions. If you have any that are coming up as you're listening to this waterfall of information, feel free to pop them in the chat if something comes up, if it's not answered for you through the rest of the presentation. All right, so we'll go ahead. Here's an example. Losing, my voice is going in and out. So I'm going to play the audio that I made for you this morning.
Allow me to share a recent participant's experience reflecting on her use of the principle of practice tool, the action plan, for weekly SECD lessons. Before starting the webinar, I used the random computer generator to select a participant from our spring 2022 graduating cohort to share examples of experiences engaging in the practice and using the weekly action plan tools. Here you will see biographical information, goals, and reflections on the action plan. Each participant begins by assessing their students' SECD learning needs and setting goals to meet them. This educator is Jacinia, and she's an 8th grade English language teacher in Jersey City, and it's her 23rd year with the district. She says that she has taught every grade but 2nd grade. She's the daughter of a librarian. She loves reading and books. She has 3 children, twin boys, and 2 things that she wishes to accomplish in this class are how to implement and maintain SECD classrooms to better meet the needs of my population of students, and also to be a model for the teachers around her that want to use these methods and ideologies. Our next slide offers a sampling of more members from the 2022 SEL 103 practicum cohort, their current roles and responsibilities, where they are currently working, and goals they are aiming to meet in our program. We have Ariel from Argentina coaching after-school program with an all-girls 9 and under soccer group. We have Casey from Florida, who is a learning specialist and SEL coordinator for her district. We have Kat, who is a bilingual educator working with grade 1 students in New Jersey. And as a final example, we have Alex, who is a Jersey City speech and language pathologist. As you can see, the benefits gained for advancing professional expertise for SECD implementation using the principles of practice in the program and during the practicum attracts all educational stakeholders, no matter their years of experience or roles and responsibilities from all over the world. Our program welcomes all and is increasingly sought after by not just US educators, but educators from around the globe. Another example comes from reflections at the end of the practicum. So here you can see we have another member of the spring 2022 cohort. And this one states ways that the action plan helped this teacher reassess and revise her weekly SECD lessons. And that in turn helped her children build the skills for identifying and naming emotions and building their feelings vocabulary. Now that you have a course snapshot and some examples from the previous cohort. Let me offer you a course timeline before I spend a few minutes on the accelerated 402 practicum experiences and principles of practice tools we use with our participants to develop their SEL expertise and staff developments. The SECD 103 practicum course is a 15-week course. In the beginning, the participants in the practicum course focus on two principles of practice. One is the focus on their students' needs. The candidates focus on assessing their students' SEL-CD needs and revising their SEL 102 lesson plans to meet those students' needs. Candidates may have changed grade level or school since their SEL 102 group ended and before beginning the practicum. We use the first few weeks to make adjustments and action plan revisions. We receive instructor feedback for setting goals and engaging with students or adult groups to launch the weekly lessons successfully. Principles of practice number 2 focuses on the educator. Candidates focus on reflecting on their emotional intelligence strengths and how their SEL competencies influence their capacity for creating safe, caring learning experiences for their students and groups. The 103 practicum challenges participants to offer 12 weeks of intentional SEL lessons. During the engagement, the principles of practice focus on adults and students' professional development and relationship building. We know most learning and teaching experiences occur in a social context. All learning and teaching is colored by one's emotions. As candidates gain experience and expertise, they reach out for on-site feedback from colleagues and supervisors and curate student evidence of SEL-CD progress. Candidates engage in colleague observation and feedback on their weekly SEL lessons. Candidates engage in collecting student evidence of SEL progress, and candidates engage students to create lists of SEL-CD student-generated topics for further discussion and exploration. The end of the course is a time of celebration. The wrapping up of the course creates a SEL-CD practica portfolio that includes 12 weekly action plans, running journal logs, student evidence of SECD weekly lesson progressions of skills, SECD tool belt, final reflection paper, and a celebration and graduation.
Okay, so I'd like to stop there and just again pause and ask if there are any questions regarding that flood of information describing all of the principles of practices and principle of practice tools that are used in the 103. If there are any questions, comments, expectations, compliments, challenges? Okay. Would you like to learn a little bit more, about 5 more minutes, about the 402 so that you have an understanding of the difference between that practicum track? Would that make sense for you at this time? Let's go for it. Okay. All right.
So that pretty much wraps up the snapshot for the 103 practicum. Next, I want to just take a few more moments and give you a quick snapshot of the SEL 402 accelerated practicum. So the essential question here is, what is the purpose of the 402 accelerated practica? The purpose of the 402 accelerated is to offer those who have accumulated 5+ years of experience integrating SEL-CD with their students and groups a capstone to illustrate all that they have accomplished throughout the years, initiating, implementing, and assessing SECD within classrooms, counseling, clinical, or
Sorry, forgot to share.
The rationale of the accelerated practicum is that candidates have had significant experience with SECD implementation. The next requirement is for the participant to document and synthesize those experiences.
So it's 5+ years. There is a application through our directors where we ask you to document that, and then you become qualified for the accelerated track. So again, there is a 401, which is a combination of the foundations and pedagogy from the general track in one class, and then you move into the practicum for 402.
The principles of practice tools the participants in the 402 Accelerate Practicum use include, again, a whole group's live chat interactions and coaching, expanding on their ongoing emotional intelligence strengths and identifying areas for improvements, weekly peer-to-peer discussions, creating concept SECD skills maps, assessing SECD programming, creating a 5-year plus timeline of events documenting their SECD professional development journey, creating a 2-day SECD professional development workshop, offering categories of evidence that include lesson plans, group session outlines, student examples, workshop presentation, and feedback surveys, and conclude with a synthesis paper. A principle of practice that the SEL 402 accelerated participants engage in during the practicum is focusing on teaching, modeling, prompting, and practice to elevate the SEL skills and lessons for developing SEL practitioners. The 402 groups offer SEL CD mini lessons to our candidates in the general track or to on-site colleagues. The purpose is to support our SEL 402 candidates to position themselves for teaching the teachers about how they can integrate SEL principles and practice into the learning experience of their students daily. The timeline for the 402 practicum is 10 weeks. The course is 10 weeks long.
Oops.
Towards the middle of the 402 practicum, the participants continue to build the SECD professional development agenda for their presentations and mini lessons. They are integrating character education into the curriculum. They are outlining and practicing the basics of service learning, and they are engaging with the Academy for SEL in schools through Facebook and the professional development community for the Academy as well. The conclusion of the 402 comprises of a celebration and graduation. Each candidate will create a final synthesis paper outlining their goals for moving forward. This is not the end. It is just the beginning of a new SECD adventure for them.
So I can speak on some examples from 103 and 402, but right now I want to congratulate you for sitting through that presentation and our webinar. I want to remind you that these children will grow up to be these people, and that is our hope and dream. So I have another informal poll for you. So if you were to answer this poll, would your answer be A, B, or C at this moment?
Say C.
What'd you say? What'd you say, Rich?
C. I would say C.
Yay.
I would say C as well.
Okay, great. I agree. So you're a lifelong learner seeking to grow SEL expertise through professional development. Awesome. All right. So I just keep bringing us back to this online learning, which is, for a lot of us with the disruption of learning due to the COVID pandemic, there was a lot of anxiety around remote learning. And now we're finding, I mean, for adult learning situations, it's really been the standard for over 10 years, but it is a great learning experience that allows people from all over the world to interact together. And I'm a graduate of the program, and I've been teaching on the instructor side for 6 years now. I teach the beginning general track, and then I sandwich that in, book in with that with the 103. So oftentimes I'm looped back into with the same groups that I've worked with in the 101. And then I also do the 401 and 402 accelerated. And we have had amazing candidates that have gone on to, as Dr. Scott said, write books, give seminars, get advanced degrees, and they do this from all over the world. It's just an amazing program, and I'm a fan. As I said, I'm a graduate, and I'm just honored to be teaching as well. So before we get to the question and answers, I did want to share this resource with you. This book was just published this year by our own Dr. Marisa Elias from Rutgers and Vicky Podobicki, who is also one of our program directors. So they just published this book. Oftentimes I'm asked, sorry for the voice, I'm asked for a resource if someone cannot continue in our 3-phase program after the 101 or 401, or I'm just asked for a resource. So this is a great resource if you want to share this with your staff and faculty. It's just filled with activities, SEL activities. All right, and this is my contact information at Rutgers in the Department of Psychology. If you have additional questions, I also will be sending Dr. Vicky a link to this recording if you want to review it. I'm so sorry, my throat is so tight. If you want to review it or get in contact with Dr. Scott or myself. So this is what I look like typically during one of our weekly live chats in the courses that I teach. It's pretty informal. Everyone comes. We've all had a long day. So it's a safe space, as Rich said. It's relaxing. We build community, and we share with each other and learn from each other. And so that's what you can expect. And this is just my bio, which I just repeated. I'm also a professor teaching SEL at the University of San Diego here in San Diego. And I was on the executive team that developed a master's in SEL for National University, where I also teach the trauma, SEL, and trauma in education for trauma-informed practitioners.